Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. There's been some fantastic talks today. If you're hoping for another talk about the crystal ball future of critical metals and their rising demand and what I think the prices are going to do, then I'm going to disappoint all of you. Instead, I'm going to talk about our projects that we have and talk about what we're going to be doing on them, because we are exploring. We are an active exploration company, and our job is not to predict the market. Our job is to actually find the resources and the metals that the world needs for the future. So that's all going to be the cusp of our talk today, and I look forward to giving that to you. If I do struggle a bit, I apologize. I have my second Pfizer jab this morning. So if I start tweaking a little bit, please forgive me. I am proud to say that 100% of Dreadnought has been vaccinated, so that's always good. So Dreadnought Exploration, 2 years ago, we were a 3 to 5 mil market cap company. Today, we're sitting just shy of 100 mil. Been around for just over 2 years. Like I said, we're a very active exploration company, greenfields exploration. We've gone from doing the arm wavy. We think there's great potential out here, and now we're into a position where we've actually delivered significant intercepts, and we'll be chasing those up, and I'll be talking about what we've achieved, and more importantly, what are we going to be doing for the rest of this year and then 12 months going forward. Spectacular board, as we talked about before, skin in the game. We have 17% of the company, 1.3 mil of our own cash invested. We are strongly aligned with shareholders. We live on the front end of the Lassonde curve. We are here to find something, take that to resource. That's the first crystallization event of the mineral cycle, and that's where you'll see us excel, hopefully. Certainly what we try to excel at. We have 3 main projects up in the Kimberleys, where we're working at the moment, where we've had some big success. Mangaroon, which we'll start off talking about, because that's what has the rare earths. And since this is the Critical Metals Conference, it'll be the first time to talk about the rare earths, because last conference we didn't even have them on our projects, and we discovered these in May. We moved very quickly to assess those, and we'll talk about that as well. And we also have the Alara project down in the goldfields. We have some early stage lithium plays there. We have 3 main projects. The Kimberley is obviously very exciting, and Mangaroon, elephant country, but there's only certain times of the year that we can be up there. And as a junior, you live and die by your news flow and your results. So we make sure we have a balance of our projects and our commodities, so make sure that we can continue to feed the market and all of our supporters the results that they want and deserve. So we'll start off with Mangaroon. Mangaroon's we pegged over 4,500 square kilometers in the very unloved Gascoyne region, Mangaroon province, hence we got the Mangaroon name. We originally pegged this ground for the Money Intrusion, which is an intrusion that we gave the name to. It's a 50-kilometer long intrusion that the pastoralists had identified in the 1960s as bearing nickel, copper, and PGEs. It's sort of been lost to the mining industry because of that. Most of this region's history has been dominated by the pastoralists, including the gold mine at Star of Mangaroon, discovered by the pastoralists, mined by the pastoralists. When that happens, that knowledge tends to not go into the mining industry side quite so much. So if you pull up a WAMEX review of some of this area, you miss out quite a bit. But we also have pegged all the way down towards Yangibana, near the Hastings Yangibana Ironstone project, and we also had some gold in that area. So on the nickel copper PGEs, we have a joint venture with First Quantum. They have to spend $15 million to earn 51% of the project, and then free carry us all the way to a decision to mine. We still maintain 30% of the project at that stage. So that's the sort of deals that Dreadnought looks for. We're here to be carried into production or to be bought out by people who are more specialized than us in that realm. So the rare earths, April, May, we were out doing work on the gold and the nickel, and a couple young geos brought a mate along, Ross Chandler, Luke, Nick Chapman, and they all wanted to go have a look at the Yangibana area nearby. Historically, all the ironstones were supposed to stop at the Lions River Fault. GSWA reports, academic publications all said so. These guys wanted to take a day. It was been studied for decades, pretty well-established exploration criteria, slight thorium anomaly. They're magnetic, and they tend to stick out of the ground. So we reprocessed the magnetic data and radiometric data. The guys picked out a few targets and went out there, and lo and behold, they stumbled over what we now call yin. And we hope that the work that we do will show that we have the yin to Yangibana. So if you back Hastings, then perhaps we are the exploration play, and we're trying to do everything we can to show that we are very similar to what they have. Over the last 3 to 4 months, we've been looking at de-risking this as much as possible, and that's sort of two sides. One, show that we are the same mineralogically, metallurgically, geologically to the Hastings-Yangibana ironstones, so we can peg that to a successful company. Two, also to de-risk it and make sure it's something worth for us going for. So in the last couple of months, while doing work in the Kimberley and elsewhere, we've been doing the orientation geophysics work. We'd actually huffed out a bulk sample. Chappie and I carried out 60 kilos of rock from the surface so we could take it in for early flotation test work. And what that's given to us is it's a significantly de-risked early stage exploration project for us, because we're showing now, as we announced this morning, we now have 6 ironstone outcrops over 11 strike kilometers. We're showing that this thing has scale. We sort of jokingly called the thing yin to be the yin to Yangibana, but it actually is starting to show to have that sort of scale and the same sort of strike as Hastings. We have the grade, similar rock chip grades to Hastings-Yangibana. We got some fantastic high grades in there. Mineralogy, confirmed monazite, tick. It's also low thorium, just like the Yangibana ironstones, low uranium as well, so we're not going to have problems like some other projects around the place. And the metallurgy, standard flotation test sheets, thanks to a lot of the work that's been done over the Yangibana ironstones for the past 10, 15 years. We're able to jump on the back of that, run our samples through a similar flow sheet process, and we produced a high-grade concentrate, producing 12.3% neodymium, 15% if you include the praseodymium, total 40% total rare earths, and that's taken the mass reduction down to about 3% of the total mass going in. So a really high-quality concentrate, high-grade, and high NdPr, just like the Hastings-Yangibana project. So if you like Hastings and you believe in their rare earth capabilities, we have the potentially emerging to be the next thing next door. And we'll see how we go with that. We'll be doing an airborne magnetic survey in September, end of this month. We know these things are magnetic. We can trace them under cover. So that airborne survey will let us know where these things connect to, how much there are, and if we potentially highlight a few extra ones. We'll then undertake all of our environmental and heritage surveys are currently locked in and underway. And then in March next year, as soon as it dries up in the Gascoyne region, we aim to be out there drilling. And just like Hastings did when they started putting out their resources at Yangibana, we plan to put out a resource on every single drill program. So by the mid to late next year, we will have maiden JORC resources on these ironstones. The work that First Quantum's been doing in the background, and us a little bit, we're supposed to be managing the project, but we've been so busy elsewhere, First Quantum's been carrying the weight on that one a little bit. But 50-kilometer long mafic intrusion, 800 million years old. Very sort of exciting, got pentlandite and chalcopyrite and things of fresh sulfides sitting at surface, which is not something you generally see in Western Australia. And over the last couple of months, been mapping through that, mapping the bleb sizes, and more recently, the last couple of months of mapping, we've highlighted over a kilometer-long gossinous horizon on the contact of the intrusion with the country rock, most likely remobilized sulfides. They're coming from somewhere. We have an EM survey kicking off this month. And that EM survey, if it lights up any conductors within this thing, it's a very resistive host rock. Any of those conductors get lit up will be very exciting. It'll be a very long survey. I plan on doing about 15 to 25 strike kilometers of the intrusion with the EM, all funded by First Quantum. Thank you very much, guys. And we'll put out the results of those EM conductors as the program's going on. Again, we're looking at getting this project drill ready for March next year. So we'll be out there drilling this, doing discovery work with First Quantum, and then doing discovery work and hopefully resource work on the rare earths. Thingamajigger here doesn't really seem to work. There we go. Moving on to the Kimberley. So this is where we've just come from and had some recent success, and where we'll be heading back up to here in the next couple of weeks. So the Taraji-Yampi project, located just outside of Derby. It's on the Defense Reserve, Yampi Sound Training Area. It's been off limits to exploration since 1978. Last explored by Roy Woodall in 1958, looking at these beautiful walls of copper sticking out of the ground. There's not many locations like this left in WA. I went off when I was a bit younger, a couple years ago, to Myanmar and places like that to actually explore in a region where you see mineralization sticking out of the ground because it's been off limits to modern exploration. I never thought to be able to come back to WA and have this opportunity here. So we've been talking about the potential elephant country. Like I said, we have the outcropping mineralization sitting there, and these vein systems are absolutely everywhere. High-grade copper, silver, antimony, bismuth, cobalt. and just sticking out of the ground. Like in Mount Isa, you see these veins sticking out everywhere. Sometimes they become a nice satellite pit, but the hunt has always been, where's the big breccia pipe sitting undercover? Where's the Ernest Henry? Where's the big prize? And proud to say that this last drill program, the second to last hole of the program, the first hole into Orion, we actually hit, went through only 3 meters of cover, and then 12 meters of massive sulfide from 45 meters depth. So that's a very exciting, unfortunately we then had to leave site for other activities, but we'll be back up there in the next couple of weeks to finish off what we started. And then Fuso was another one of these big mag anomalies sitting under cover. We've completed that, so we had a near miss, hit some high-grade mineralization just on the side. We've redone the magnetics on that, and we know that that's a near miss, and we'll be following that up as well. So Orion, I'm going to draw some things here. We were originally chasing nickel copper PGEs, such as what Chalice and IGO are chasing along strike. Orion was a magnetic and EM anomaly sitting within the Ruins dolerite, so it made sense. This was a nickel copper PGE target. But like the rocks like to do when you're exploring an area that hasn't been touched for 60 years, they like to tell you you're wrong. But thankfully, we were wrong in a way that we still got 1.6% copper, over an ounce silver, and 0.5 gram gold in that massive sulfide unit. And encouragingly, that massive sulfide unit hit the edge of the plate on the top left-hand corner. The magnetic intensity and the EM intensity increases to the north along strike. EM plate's about 400 to 500 meters long, 300 to 400 meters deep. Lines up beautifully with the massive sulfide intercept, and what gets me most excited going back up there is we only had 3 meters of cover, and the depth of weathering was down to 27 meters. We know from Rough Triangle and Grants and the work that we've done out there the last 2 years that there's a supergene profile preserved in this region. So if there's a nice supergene blanket sitting on top of this, that's going to produce some very juicy grades, and very much looking forward to drilling that. We'll be drilling that by the end of this month. So we'll be testing up dip and down dip from this initial intersection, and we'll also chase it to the south and to the north along strike. We'll then rush those samples off to the lab since it takes 2 months to get a result at the moment. We don't want to keep everyone waiting. And then we'll continue to step out along the entire strike length of the EM anomaly. And after we finish that, we'll go test some of these other magnetic anomalies at Orion. We don't think this thing is going to be alone on the similar structures, similar magnetic intensity. We'll also follow up at Fuso, where we had the biggest mag anomaly out there in the project area. Our first couple holes missed. We're completely stabbing into the dark a little bit under cover. We now know where these magnetic anomalies are in relation to where we drilled our holes and the deviations that they took. We'll be back out there drilling these holes on the back of Orion. And also chasing up Grants, which was one of the original workings that Roy Woodall chased up in 1958. So by the end of October, by the start of November, we'll have found out how big Orion is and how many friends it has. And that will be a very, very exciting drill program for us, and we're very, very excited to see what comes out from that. Now, Laura, quickly, since I've run out of time, this is going on in the background. Over the summer, we'll do some work out here. We've uncovered some lithium pegmatites, and we'll do some work on that. We've hit high-grade tantalum. Haven't seen the lithium yet, but it's the first work ever done on these pegmatites and ever in the history of the project area in the Greenstone Belt. So they'll be working on in the background. So our work plan, lots of drilling. That'll be a mix now of not only discovery-focused drilling, but also resource evaluation drilling. So by this stage next year, we could be sitting on resources of copper, of rare earths, and of gold, and anything else that we find in the meantime. So we're here to find things, we're here to take them to resource and get that value locked in for our shareholders and ourselves. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tuck. Fearless as always.